Hello everyone and welcome to another I Pick My Butt video. Today we're going to be playing Rebel Inc. and we're going to be showing you how to beat any level on normal with the latest update. And we'll be playing this board with the Civil Servant, but if you see here, the advisors, those are going to be something you can unlock as you progress in the game. It'll be things like delaying the insurgents from coming out, starting with more money, a bunch of stuff to help out. What we want to do right now is pick a spot on the map which is kind of central to all the cities. We're going to start off with Delta Yankee here. And if you click down on the very bottom center of the screen, that's how we get the information. This one, terrain is urban with main roads. So we're going to go into government and do district representatives. When we spend the money on this, you'll notice that's going to open up other tiers. So that's something how this game works. You need to kind of memorize what does what, but district representative is always the first one, and outreach office is always the second one I like to do because that's going to expand even more on things. This is all in the government tab. We then have civilian tabs, and this is the main way to kind of get that support level up. So infrastructure, that's going to open up those main roads. See underneath terrain there? Well, once we do that, it's really going to help boost the zone that we're in. And when these initiatives go out, you're going to see little hammers on the screen that's kind of telling you which zone that it's working in. But we can go down in here and back in the government tab, this effective procurement, that's going to cause less corruption when we fund those initiatives. And corruption, you see it down the bottom right there, that's really going to screw up this game for us. Higher corruption, higher the chaos. And the way to win this game, that stability up at the top middle there, we need to get that to 100% in order to beat the game. Now you see here, the reputation, that's on the right, that's kind of our health. If that goes to 0, you lose the game. And that's also going to kind of contribute to how much money we're bringing in too. So we just did anti-corruption down the bottom left. You'll notice as we spend money, the inflation down in the center there is going to increase also. Watch out for that. So in the beginning of the game, we really need to find a good balance between the civilian tab and the government tab. Now look here in the map, you're going to see these eyeballs. Look at that. We just got enough intel in that zone where we kind of know what's going on with it. Very cool. Now when we go over to the government tab, there's going to be a couple of cool things that really help us out. P&R media is something that we select, and look at the support level when you click on it. That's going to give a big giant boost if we get it. International assistance, that's going to be actually other people helping us do initiatives. And foreign relations, well, that's going to keep foreign countries from helping the insurgents. The insurgents, we'll see them in a couple of seconds here. They're the bad guys. And they're going to try to take over and crush our zones. So you can see there's a bunch of different initiatives in government and in civilian. And I try to open up all the tiers on them. So if we do get a notification, we can click right on the one that needs to have money spent on it. So just to recap, we're trying to get support up, keep corruption down, and watch our inflation. And we're doing this by buying different initiatives in the government and civilian tab. And as much as we'd like to buy every single initiative, we really don't have the money to do so. So there's these certain ones that we want to really prep that you've seen so far before the insurgents come out. Because once they do, this military tab is going to open up and we're going to have to start cranking out some troops. So I really don't have set initiatives that I pick on the civilian tab. I usually look at the zone that I'm in and find out which one of the infrastructures are there, and then I go to the civilian services and just kind of pick a little bit of a grouping around that heart itself. And the more money we spend on these civilian services, when it comes time to doing P&R, the bigger that jump's going to be in the support level, because significantly multiplies existing and future support levels. And just like most of the other initiatives, it's going to open up another one right below it. So you've seen the civilian tab, you've seen the government tab. Let's start talking about the military. The military tab isn't going to open up until the insurgents come out, unless you're the general. He can have that tab open right away. Once we see insurgency rumored, military initiatives authorized, we can now go into that military tab and start spending money in there if we want to. But before we do that, let's just say that depending on which governor you pick, they're all going to have different characteristics. So you do need to learn each one, but with this tactic here, you should be able to really work and beat any board on normal, just kind of using this stuff that we're going over today. So when we do go into the military tab, one of the first things we're actually going to have to do is spend money on a coalition troop. It's the only one that's in there right now, so we click on that, that's going to open up other ones. Coalition ones are not going to increase your corruption, but they're going to decrease your support level. We're going to put this coalition troop right on where these insurgents are, and it's going to take a couple of minutes because we haven't gathered enough intel on it to open it up. Now the green ones, those are the national ones, and those are going to increase your corruption, but they won't do anything to your support level, and they'll be sticking around for the whole game. The coalitions, they're going to go away. Now when the insurgents first pop out, the zone that they start in, or one of the ones that's touching them, is going to have a rebel base that's in there. And this rebel base is going to be kind of feeding these troops and really cause a lot of trouble for us. So first thing we can do is we really want to try to find that. And one of the ways we can do that is by selecting the drone in the military tab. That's going to help hunt those things down. Keep in mind though, all these areas that we're putting our troops in right now are grayed out, so they're not going to start attacking things right away. And if we were to throw a second troop on the map and put it in one of those grayed out zones, it's not going to be able to support the other troop that we have there. So these rebel bases, what they look like, it's kind of a red square with a little fort in the middle of it, just like that one right there. I can't tell you how important it is to find these and destroy them. It's really going to make a game changer. Another way to kind of know about those is you'll see larger insurgents, those diamonds that are red, or even sometimes you'll see a kind of grayed out question mark somewhere on the map, and as time goes by, that question mark will make it more appearable to you. So keep an eye on for those. So you see we have a second troop on there, and now we just spent money on something called garrisons. These are going to be kind of little forts that'll also help support our troops. So you see those lines going between? That's saying we're supporting. Now you just saw there a whole bunch of green things popped up. We just gathered enough intel and stability on those zones that it actually gave us extra points towards our reputation on the right there. This is really a huge thing to kind of keep this game going, because if we do have too many insurgents on the map, they're going to get bonuses that are going to decrease our reputation, and you're going to find yourself losing incredibly fast. Now you may notice that the green troops aren't as strong as the blue troops. When first starting off, those blue ones, the coalition, they're very strong. The green ones, the national, well, we're going to have to spend some money on them as we open up more of those tiers, and then we can make them stronger too. So what we usually want to try to do is get those blue ones out in front and have them doing the damage, and then have the green ones to support the blue ones. And that's really a great way to kind of push these insurgents. What we're trying to do is we're trying to pinch these insurgents in a corner or trap them where they have nowhere to run to. And if they have nowhere to run to, well, then they get defeated, die, and they go away. Although other insurgents will pop up in the maps elsewhere, so you got to keep your eyes on them. And if you see them going for a main city, get your troops over there fast, because we need to get rid of them. You see here though, they're really controlling these areas, and they got a pretty good bonus going on for having those 3 or 4 areas attached together. That's really going to hurt our reputation, so we need to get on that and try to break that up as fast as we can. Once you have done local police recruitment initiative, in the middle there, the shield, well, now that opens up these kind of corruption ones on the bottom left there. Kind of looks like the handcuffs. We could drop our actual corruption really fast by spending a good amount of money. Once again, I can't say enough, you really need to keep an eye on the corruption. If it does get too high, the game will give you a notification saying so. But one of the cool things it does with notifications is sometimes they'll say that Sea Trust is not doing enough to fight polio. Significant support levels decrease. If you go and find that right initiative for polio, well, all of a sudden that support level is going to boost right up if you're able to spend the money on it. So here you are on the screen here, we just got ourselves another rebel base. We're going to back that troop up so it can really try to crush it. And this is where the game gets tricky. We've got troops up top, and now we just had one that landed down on the bottom right there. What do? Do we try to go for it, or do we try to focus on what we're doing? At this point, I would say focus on what you're doing. Let's try to crush the insurgents that we're already messing with, and we can just let that one lay down there. Once we beat these ones, we'll try to go through and beat these other ones. You'll see sometimes the insurgents will try to run right through you and try to be sneaky on you, but because we have that local police recruitment, they're going to get crushed really fast and just kind of disappear. But the coalition troops, they're here for a limited time. That's what that blue exclamation point is. And we could keep them around longer if we want to and serve more tours, but what we're going to lose is reputation points. And it'll give you the option of either doing a short extension or a long extension. The long one, I'm guessing, I'm pretty certain, is about double the short. So you can get a deal out of it if you do want to keep them around for 2 tours. Like I said, you just watch that reputation drop, and that's no good when beating the game. So keep that in mind. Be careful how often you're using those coalition troops and how long you're keeping around. Nationals, on the other hand, they're around forever. We don't have to worry about those guys running away. So for right now, we actually need those coalition troops, and we're going to be pinching those insurgents up in that top right corner and wiping them right out. That's a really good feeling when we get to that point. With all the soldiers on the map, we can do civil assistance and civil integration, which is going to help the soldiers do initiatives and roll them out in the areas that they're in. So if they're just sitting there, it's going to really kind of help out. But look at this. We're going to pinch these insurgents in the top right here. We're going to wipe them out. And this is just one of those things right here. We can get some free reputation by spending a little bit of money. I'm going to go for the big guns on it. But look at this. What a rewarding moment there. We just crushed those insurgents in the top right. Now we're going to move them around and try to crush them down the bottom right. Another way to beat the game, which I like to do, is these peace treaties here. You can see where it said try to talk on the left. You want to find a number below 70% on it if you're going to do the peace treaty. We're going to skip over it for now. We'll show you what it's like later on it, but we'll just kind of give you a couple more options of how to play this game. Really, we're getting that stability up, we're watching our reputation, and by opening up more of these tiers and initiatives, we can do that pretty quick. You just saw another one actually stabilize up in the top left there. The more green spots we have on the map, the better. We also have the option to delay the peace treaty or antagonize them and actually get about 4 reputation for kind of, I don't know, really making them angry. That's not always a good way though, unless you're really hurting for reputation. So we're really just kind of throwing these troops around, trying to keep those insurgents away. This is from that NGO we did there. We just selected one which is going to allow them to kind of pick free initiatives on their own and work on them. It will increase the inflation, it will increase corruption, so we do have to be careful. I usually like doing the funding only. That's going to give money just to us and we can spend it on our own. Well, you saw right there, the insurgents, they're going for those big cities. If they get those, they're going to usually do maybe 2 or 3 reputation points lost. If they leave and then they take that over again, the amount of reputation we lose will keep on increasing from 7 to 9 to 15. It could really start hurting on it. So once again, let's box these guys in there. We'll get some troops thrown around. Garrisons, they're kind of like having a troop on their own just sitting there. Once you get to a certain point, the insurgents won't even be able to actually take them over once you have that zone stabilized. So really, this is it though. This is how we play the game. This is kind of the mechanics behind it. Yes, some boards are going to be harder than the others, but if you apply these tactics from this video right here, you shouldn't have any issues with them. Now notice that a lot of the green areas we have are kind of in the flatlands. These are all urban and rural. The remote areas that are those mountains up in the top right, if we need to, in the government tab, we have outreach office, and or you see right underneath those, the one that looks like a mountain, kind of like a grain or a building. We can click on those and spend the money, and that'll kind of help roll out those initiatives in those areas. This board here, Saffron Fields, those mountains are always the last, so getting in on the remotes early is going to be a great way to kind of make sure that you have them under wraps and keep the insurgents out on them. Let's talk about one more tactic in this game that you don't necessarily have to use, but a lot of people do, and that's airstrikes. Say you're attacking insurgents on the right side of the map, and one pops up on the left side. Well, those airstrikes is going to be a big, huge plane that's going to come through and drop some missiles or bombs, whatever, blow them up, and wipe them out. The downfall is we can actually kill civilians, and when that happens, we're going to have to spend some money to cover them up. And what I usually do is if there's less than 10%, I say, let's cover it up. It makes you feel kind of guilty about it, but it really is going to keep you out of trouble. There is another initiative that you can do more precision airstrikes. You can even make it where you're going to be less likely to kill those civilians. So keep that in mind, but it is a big money spender on those. So we're just going to send that troop home. We don't really need them anymore. We've got another one green one pumping out right now. So eventually, we can get rid of all those coalition troops. But let's do this airstrike here, $17, and you saw the tiers that had opened up on that. So if we wanted to, we probably could have beaten the game already by doing the peace deal. Usually, it takes about 10 minutes to 12 minutes to beat one of these games if we use it. And really, there's no insurgents around that are going to even interfere. We have so much reputation, it's not going to affect anything at all. So this is pretty much the end game for it here. We will show you in a little bit what it actually looks like when we do agree to the peace deal. We're not going to do it this time though. We'll do it on the next one around, just so you can kind of understand what it's like. But really, there's a lot of different things in this game. We really need to find out what's going to keep that support up, keep the corruption down, and really crush those insurgents. Brutal on this game is incredibly difficult. I'd say it's everything times 2. So So there is plenty of videos that I have online for that. But really, we got them all pretty much covered here for you. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Feel free to hit that thumbs up button, subscribe if you haven't already. Could really use everybody's support on this. We're going to be cranking out a bunch more videos, but this is the extent of the game. We're trying to crush the insurgents, find the rebel bases. We really need to get that support level up so we can stabilize the region, and there's two ways to win the game, either by getting that stability to 100% or by doing the peace deal. So appreciate everybody that's watched here so far. Thank you so much for everybody's support, and remember, I pick my butt.